What is happening, Magnus sites? Our favorite young lady is back. And the last time, I forgot what her question was, or what she was talking about, but I know I had something to say about her cleavage because she had too much of it showing. And I was trying to explain to her that was part of the reason why she was having issues. Oh, yeah, like why don't men speak to women in public anymore or something like that? Something like that. So apparently she has a list of why men are afraid of women these days. So we're going to check this out. I'll give you my thoughts.
So I want to talk about why men of this generation are scared of women. And I think it has to do with a bunch of reasons, and I'm going to go into it. But number one, dating apps has made it so that men do not have to risk anything to go on a date with women. Back in the day, you used to have to at least go to a bar and risk rejection in front of your friends or...
Well, I don't know if they don't have to risk anything. Why would they be afraid? I'm wondering what the point is. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
embarrassment or any sort of thing like that. Now it's just guaranteed. Men can go on an app and just swipe, and if you match with them, they know that you at least have interest in them, so there's literally no risk. Second, I think...
Well, I don't think that's why they're afraid. Someone put in the comments if I'm getting that part wrong. Like, I think that makes men less afraid. They don't have to approach.
So I want to talk about why men of this generation are scared of women. And I think...
Yeah, well, that would make them less scared. That would make them less scared. I had approach anxiety when I was younger. And I remember when I first started online dating, it was a smorgasbord to me. It was a buffet of picking the women I was interested in. I could send them a message. They may or may not reply, but at least it wasn't face to face, so I was still less afraid. I thought online dating was great, and you know, certain aspects of it were cool. I mean, even up until I guess into my 40s, I was still online dating. So I don't have a problem with online dating. I don't think it's bad. But you do still need to meet and speak to each other and eventually speak on the phone to have a proper conversation. You either meet in person to have a proper conversation or you talk on the phone. The back and forth voice messages, if you want to do that, that's the closest thing. But texting is usually how it starts. I know how it goes. You swipe right on each other and you start texting each other. And once you start to feel each other, you're like, hey, let's talk on the phone. And that's when you talk on the phone, and then you set up a date. That's how it goes. I think maybe there's some people out there that start texting, and then they set up a date, and then they meet, and that's when they have their first talk. But that's how I always did it. You swipe right on each other, you start talking, texting, and then you have a verbal conversation on the phone. And I would have girls sometimes... They would start texting me, and sometimes they would take the initiative to send me a voice message on whether it be not Tinder, but like Instagram or WhatsApp. So then we're voice messaging each other back. But then it's like, all right, let's talk. And sometimes they would want to face app. They would want to see if, you know, I was who I said I was. And me also, you know, wanted to know. So I don't know if that's a good point right there of why they're afraid.
It has to do with a bunch of reasons, and I'm going to go into it. But number one, dating apps has made it so that men do not have to risk anything to go on a date with women. Back in the day, you used to have to at least go to a bar and risk rejection in front of your...
By the way, I don't think I'm the only person that has saw this and noticed this. I have pretty big pecs. So when I go like this, mine bounce like I'm a wrestler giving a promo. You know what I'm saying, brother? I think she's advertising.
friends or embarrassment or any sort of thing like that. Now it's just guaranteed. Men can go on an app and just swipe, and if you match with them, they know that you at least have interest in them, so there's literally no risk. Second, I think that people having phones and girls always recording things definitely scares men because They always think that like a girl is going to record them and call them a creep. Men are so terrified of being called creeps. I think it's like one of the things that they fear the most. They never want to be that creepy.
Yeah, I never had that fear. But there were a couple of instances where I was talking to a chick and I was like, and like, you know, we were maybe having a disagreement and she sent me a screenshot of something that I said like days and days ago. And I'm like, she's screenshotting this stuff? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, but I still had no fear or worry of anything. But I get it nowadays, especially, you know, Joey Swole always talking about these girls, you know, and the stuff they're doing. Like, these girls are, you know, taking pictures of this and videos of this and trying to make things look a specific way. I could definitely see guys being wary of that.
Guy, and now in this generation everything's recorded and put on TikTok, so they're scared about that. And the third reason I think men are scared of women is because they just don't have motivation due to pornography and things like that to even go on dates, and they're so scared of being like called a creep or getting like accused of something that it's easier for them to just stay inside. I'm not saying this is an excuse, and men, you need to get out there and get over this.
She's right. You do. You need to get out there and get over it. Look, guys, I talk to you all the time. You know, I got a lot of what I feel are red pill extremists in my comment section. Some of y'all be talking crazy. Absolutely insane, okay? It's not all the women's fault, and it's not all your fault, okay? But there is a balance that you need to strike in life with keep getting yourself together as a man. Gaining that confidence, okay? I know it's not easy. Okay? And with the amount of women that are online now giving out that satisfaction, okay? Whether it's free, whether it's OnlyFans, whatever it is, I know. Listen, men have never in the history of humanity been at this point in time right now we have access to so many beautiful women at one time with a click. It's almost as if you're an ancient king with thousands of concubines. Imagine that. Only the richest men that took that many concubines and wives, or you hear about it, thousands of concubines and hundreds of wives. And I mean, like, can you imagine that? I mean, like, that's just like that's like a lot of men's dreams to have an endless amount. Who could get through thousands of concubines? Like, I'm just the type of guy, like, I thought about having several wives, and I'm like, I think if I did have several wives, I would only have two. You know what I mean? I would only have two. Like, oh God, I cannot deal. Listen, I love Scarlo. Two of them is the limit. And they're going to look different. They're not going to be the same chick. You guys like variety, so I'm going to have one that's different and another one that's different. You know what I mean? So I could maybe, you know, have my two, you know, because sometimes we got a few types of women that we like, you know. So, I mean, if I have, like, I got like two types of women that I like, and maybe three. So maybe I have three wives. That's like it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what I'm saying is you need to get out there. You need to handle this. And the girls have to stop being so, like she's talking about them recording and trying to make everybody look like a creep and like they're bothering them and all this other stuff. It's just, you know, there's faults on both sides of men and women. We both need to get our ish together because we both need each other.
But I'm just explaining why I feel like men truly are scared of women in this generation.
Yeah. So... she told nothing but the truth. The first one, I just don't, you know, but with corn on the cob being available so much, guys don't have to leave the house for that relief. But here's the thing. Corn on the cob, it definitely feels different than the real thing. It's different. As a matter of fact, guys know that that satisfaction from corn on the cob feels different from satisfaction from the real thing. So if you don't know that, you get out the house and find out. It's different. It's different. It's a different feeling. It's a different satisfaction, though similar. Um, and there's an intimacy there that you don't get with that. So, um, just trust me on it. Work on becoming the best version of yourself. And if the woman you're looking for, if you aren't that, in other words, if you aren't at that level to be, because look, you can't be the dude that has no job, that's a neck beard, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not in good health, and you want, I can't even think of it. Who's the one right now? Who's the girl? Sydney Sweeney. That's the girl, the dudes, at least the white dudes I know they're talking about. They talking about Sydney Sweeney, right? You can't expect to pull Sydney Sweeney and be angry that she doesn't want you if you are not the guy that could pull her. Like, I don't even know who she's dating, but I mean, if you would think someone like Chris Hemsworth, you could think he could pull a chick like Sydney Sweeney, correct? If you're not within that ballpark, you shouldn't be thinking that you deserve that just because you're a good guy that will treat her like a princess. Because there's a good guy that will treat her like a princess, that looks as good as her, is as healthy as her, takes good as care of himself as she does, or at least on the beauty end of it. You know what I mean? Yes, I mean, there's black pill guys out there's nothing but looks. I think things are a little bit of red pill, a little bit of black pill. You know what I mean? You know what? I should do a video on how I got women. But in the beginning, it mainly was looks maximizing. And I didn't think about it that way. But that's what I was doing. And that's what got me the waterfall of women at that time. You got what I'm saying? Was looks maximizing. I didn't have to do anything. And I would have women coming up to me sometimes talking about how gorgeous I was, I've been called beautiful by women, and and I remember I was in a fashion show. I was in a modeling contest where you had to bring your own outfits and stuff. And I remember one of the judges was a gay man, and he told me, he said, when I saw you in them boy shorts changing in between sets, you look so good I would have paid for it. Okay? I attract straight women, I attract gay men, everything in between. I've had lesbians. I've had is it three? Four. I've had 4 self-proclaimed lesbians tell me that if they were going to sleep with any man, it was going to be me. Then how are you lesbian? They told me, they was like, and I've heard them say it in front of other men. They're like, no, I already told y'all if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Tyrone. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. I used to have a hard time at work sometimes. I mean, especially when I was in my prime. It was just like, sometimes the way women would talk about me in front of other men, I knew the men would get jealous. A lot of them did. Some of them didn't. And a lot of them were really cool. They just gave me that respect. Like, yo, you that dude, man. Yeah, I want to be like you when I grow up. They used to say all that stuff all the time. But I was modest. I never was a guy sleeping around with a bunch of women. I only wanted one good one. Only one good one. And the longer they knew me, they knew that's how I was. That's just me. I didn't need a bunch of women. Plus, I knew everybody was, getting with each other in the job anyway. Anyway, I'll do a video on it, explain to y'all who T, and, how to do this damn thing. But yeah, she's right. Except for the first thing, I don't understand why that would make you afraid. I think that would. Maybe she's saying Maybe she's saying because it's so easy for them to access women on the dating apps that it's so easy that they don't understand risk. Maybe I was trying to make that work. I don't know. I think I lost my train of thought on that. It is so easy that I don't know. Maybe before you always had that fear, but now you don't have it anymore. So maybe when they do meet them in person, because they're so used to being online, maybe it makes them more afraid. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because you're so used to swiping right that when you in person, you can't even deal with us in person. Because before, you'd have to go to a bar or go to a gathering or meet a girl somewhere in school, talk to her, whatever, lunchtime, at a dance, at a party, at a gathering, whatever it is. But now it's so easy that you're more afraid when you meet us in person. Maybe that's what she was trying to say. 10 million subscribers.